Have you ever misread a situation? Or have you ever had a moment where the situation is so chaotic, like you cannot get your head around it? It's like it becomes an obstacle. And how do we deal with that? Like, how do we deal with those moments of going, wow, how did my perception become an obstacle? Because we have to evaluate our world around us and everything around us constantly, right? To get through the day, we are perceiving everything. And so, how do we deal with it? How do we make sure the perception doesn't become an obstacle? So for today, I've got Psalm 33, 20 through 22, and this helps give a little bit of perspective. It starts this conversation of how do we deal with this. When it says, we put our hope in the Lord, He is our help and our shield. Our heart rejoices in God because we trust His holy name. Lord, let your faithful love surround us because we wait for you. Okay, so there's several things in there. A sense of how God's presence is protecting us, of how God's presence is redirecting us, and then, Lord, let your faithful love surround us because we wait for you. In the chaos of life, God's love surrounds us and holds us. The God of love, God who created us out of love for love, actually here is giving us a moment of going, wait a minute. When we have perceptions, how is God's love part of the foundation, a part of how we perceive the world around us? Or challenge our perception when we jump to something, especially if it's negative, if it's angry, if it's despairing. How does God's love challenge those things? And we get some characteristics of that love, of how does that work practically in 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7. Love is patient, love is kind. It isn't jealous, it doesn't brag, it isn't arrogant, it isn't rude, it doesn't seek its own advantage. It isn't irritable. It doesn't keep a record of complaints. It isn't happy with injustice, but it is happy with the truth. Love puts up with all things, trusts in all things, it hopes for all things, endures all things. So that when we are in need of a perspective of, okay, how does my perspective need to change? What is the foundation? How is love helping me in this moment? We can go through those things of what are all the characteristics, what are all the attributes of love, and how can we question our perspective with each of those attributes? So as you are feeling perceptions can be chaotic, as you may misread situations, of being able to take that step back and go, all right, how are the attributes of love? Where do I notice them? How can I use them? How can I live them in this moment? May your day be one full of God's love. Have a good one.